Welcome back to CVM at Sunrise. No Canadian Experience, is a book that is a handy companion for every professional who is thinking of moving to Canada, and it's just as handy for those who have already arrived and need guidance in meeting the many challenges of settling in their new home. The author, Daisy Wright, is here with us to share more of this. Welcome to CVM at Sunrise. Welcome all the way from Canada.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
She's a Jamaican national, but you have traversed, moved over to Canada and made this
navigated
career.
Canada.
I did. I have actually. I left here and I went to, on my way to Canada, I stopped in New York, then I got a job with the UN, then I had my son, then I moved up to Canada finally.
Is it that difficult that people need a guide? It's very difficult?
It is. One is that the expectations that people tend to have before they come, they believe that I leave here as a manager and I'm just going to take the next step up to be, and that's not really true. You have to understand the landscape. It doesn't happen like that, and that's why this book came about.
Give us an example of what happens with professionals coming from Jamaica, going to Canada, why they would not be accepted into the next step up, basically, as you just said.
Well, one of the first things that people will hear is that you don't have Canadian experience. So even though your credentials got you there, you get there, and it's not that Canadians want to be like bad.
Yeah.
They just do not understand how the degree from one, and it's not only Jamaica, so understand that. It's wherever you're coming from. They just don't understand how the degree
can translate.
Can translate,
but
how it
don't they have a point though? Because in each context that you operate, you really have to get acquainted with it, no matter what.
Absolutely.
I think even if you're a CEO here and you go to another company, you still have to learn this. So they do have a point.
Oh, they have a point.
Yeah.
And the onus then is on the person, the
Trying to
individual,
integrate, yeah.
yes, to say, how can I articulate my value to this particular organization? And I tell my clients or people that I speak with, I said, if somebody says that to you, you don't have Canadian experience, don't just back down. You say to them, I might not have Canadian experience, but how can I use my global experience, or how can I use my international experience to complement your Canadian experience, and together we can work towards a common goal. And that, the moment you say that, then they realize, wow, this person is up to something, let's discuss it.
So can I ask you though, why is there this great move then to bring so much outsiders to Canada?
Well,
because we hear it's underpopulated, we hear they need workers, we hear
nurses, need teachers,
yeah, need everything.
From Jamaica.
It's obvious.
So why then isn't there already a system in place to do the translation?
There is actually. There is an organization called WES, which is World Education Service, that can do the credential assessment. And that can be done before someone gets to Canada anyway. It's done online. What I would advise people to do is get your transcripts from the universities before you get there, so it cuts down on the process.
Okay. When you wrote this book, what components did you feel were important to include, and did you include in the book? What are the different segments?
Okay, first of all, I discussed the self-assessment, which is basically, who am I? That's number one. Then we talk about the resume, which is the first thing an employer will see.
I understand it's very important in Canada.
Very important, because in your absence, in the absence of you physically going into a place, that's what they see. And that's very critical. And a lot of people believe that they should head the resume with their credentials, the MBA, the BA, and you know what? You look at the job posting, what is it that the employer is looking for? You examine yourselves, what skills do I have? And then you develop that resume focusing on those. So if they ask for an MBA, by all means, anything you want the Canadian employer to know, you put that in the top third of that resume.
So in simple language, don't do a generic.
It doesn't exist. When
Yeah.
people call, they need
When
a generic resume.
right,
It doesn't
they
exist.
want a green person. You need to focus on your green assets.
Absolutely.
Top of the resume, and
Absolutely.
then go
as-
down.
and
you
focus.
Have to, right. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, focus on the employer's needs. It's not about you. It's about them.
Definitely
I
not.
notice you also have a job search technique section. What is that about? What's a
That
technique?
encompasses a lot of things. First of all, people 65 to 85% of opportunities are found through networking, are found through the hidden job market. So somebody who is going to spend hours on the internet or looking through the newspapers, that's not necessarily the best way. It's going out there, meeting people, developing relationships with people, making the cold calls to organizations. If you find a company,
Cold calls to hot jobs. That's a part. That's a
exactly.
theme in your book.
That's how it works. And I'll give you an example. Years ago, when I wanted to change careers to teach, I did not wait on the colleges to advertise. I developed my resume focusing on my training and teaching background, sent it to all the colleges in the Greater Toronto area. And one college called me, of all of them, one called me and said, we would be interested in you at some point, but not right now. I did not wait for them to put an ad in the paper. So that's what
That's
you
what
talk
I
about,
did.
discovering the
That's how I got into
hidden
journalism.
exactly, discovering the hidden job market.
No, I want to ask you this because
Yes.
this is very essential. Evaluate your soft skills, right? The majority of new employees fail in their jobs not because of their technical ability, but because of poor interpersonal skills.
Absolutely.
And this is so key because how you relate to the individuals within the organization showcases your abilities even more.
Yeah,
so if you're
absolutely.
a poor relator, you look poor even if you have 12 PhDs.
Right.
Because people are not in an organization where there are others. You need their support.
Oh,
Is
absolutely.
this
How
something
do
that
you-
happens for persons? Is this something that is common for persons, foreign nationals going to Canada?
It's
the
common.
interpersonal skills.
It's common for anybody. So it's not just about the foreign nationals coming in. It's common for anyone. If you don't, it's one of the critical skills.
But it's
interpersonal skills.
this is possibly more critical there because even cultural nuances.
The
come
cultural
into
nuances
play
will come into play,
at
yes.
that point.
But that's critical. And like, I say to people, for example, if somebody says on a Monday morning, you're going to your work and somebody says, so how was your weekend? A lot of people might think, well, I'm fastening my business for. But it's just
It's the
Canadian.
culture, right.
And I say to them, rather than get upset, say, you know what, I had a great weekend. Because that's just them.
How long did it take you to put this book together?
It took me about 2 years, actually, and it was like, I set a goal. I said every day, whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's half an hour, that's an hour, I'm going to be doing something on this book.
That's how I did it too.
Yeah, yeah. If you don't
have
set the
to be-
goal
yeah.
in anything,
You have to
whatever, even
schedule
in
it.
terms of your job search,
Yeah, if
you
it's
don't
a minute
set your
and you
goals,
write a word, 2 additional words,
or
yeah.
you got a chance to
And-
interview people.
You interviewed persons for the book.
Oh, absolutely, because I wanted the book. The book is not a thesis by any stretch of the imagination, but I tried to incorporate as many things as I believe somebody getting a copy of this book, sitting on the plane coming over to Toronto, will at least be able, when they land, they said, well, at least I know certain things where I can start.
Right now, the book retails in Trelawney.
Yes,
only?
right at this point here in Jamaica, it's in Trelawney, at the Trelawney Book Supplies and Pharmacy at 19 Market Street. And the phone number there is 954-3189.
Do you plan to wider market? Spread
In
it?
terms, absolutely. Well, it's-
availability of the book 'cause
within
Trelawney,
Jamaica?
Yeah, within
Well,
Jamaica.
I'll
because a lot
see.
of Jamaicans are making this book,
Yes,
which is why
yes.
the text is so
Absolutely.
relevant.
And you know what?
So-
A year or so ago, I wanted to have like a workshop, even before the book came into fruition. I wanted to have a workshop to introduce people to it, but it just didn't work. And depending on what happens, I'm speaking right now with a publisher who has some linkages here, so one never knows what will happen.
What people are gonna say though, outside of your interviews and your personal experience, why should they listen to you? Because that's always the cry of the buyer of the book.
Well,
Which is becoming
absolutely.
an extinct animal in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? It's like I said, it's based on what I know. It's based on my own experiences, and it's based on experiences of other people that I have spoken to, and I live it. I see it.
And you're not pushing it on anybody. If they want to take it
and
on,
you know what?
take it on.
Let me say one very important thing. They have tons of resources that are available that people can access. What the book is doing is try to
Become a
incorporate,
part of
a part of the whole process.
Indeed.
But there are tons of free resources all over. So.
Daisy Wright, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Canadian
much.
Good work,
experience.
though.
A, by the way,
Yeah,
A
it's
is
a
the
good
way
work.
Canadians speak. A is at the end of every sentence. No Canadian experience, eh?
Eh? That's right.
Thank you very much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
very
Thank you
much.
so
And it's
much.
a good book.
All right,
Thank
we
you.
take a break. We'll be back right after this.